Hi, welcome to the Canon Academy. We are a homeschool, and I am a homeschool grandma. I just wanted to share a little bit about how to do scheduling. And if there's noise in the background, it's because my husband, who's been working home since the COVID shutdown, is on vacation this week, so he may be coming through at any moment. I like to start out with pre-K through K. Now, this is a schedule that I worked out back in 1999-2000. I had 4 kids at the time. I had one 2.5-year-old, 2 3.5-year-olds, and one 4.5-year-old. And this will come out to about 4 hours and 50 minutes of instruction, and an hour and 30 minutes, which is for naps, lunch, and creative play. Now, what I did was I broke it down so that on different days we were doing different things. For instance, Tuesdays and Thursdays we did writing or pre-writing skills for 15 minutes. Mondays and Fridays we did storytelling, which was language arts, for 25 minutes. And this is because I had each of the girls tell a story. Sometimes it was a Band-Aid story where we stuck a Band-Aid on our arms or our legs, and then we had to tell how did we get our boo-boo. And that helped build their language skills. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays we did math for 25 minutes, which could include calendar time, counting, learning patterns and shapes, different things like that. And we did reading daily for 15 minutes. And that usually consisted of going over our reading word cards and then talking about the story we were going to read, and then I would let each of them read the story. And usually the stories had 1 to 3 words in them to begin with, and we worked up from there. From there we had our lunch, which was 30 minutes daily. Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays we had science for 30 minutes, and usually what happened was I read from a science book, and then I would ask questions to see if they understood. Sometimes there might be a picture type thing with the questions where I could have even the 2.5-year-old point to the answers. Tuesdays and Thursdays with social studies for 30 minutes, and again I would read from a social studies book, and we would talk about things like our community, our neighborhood, helpers like police officers, postmen, nurses, doctors, and school teachers, things like that. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays we did music for 30 minutes, which could be anywhere from singing, or I could put on music and they could just dance however they wanted, or we could get out musical instruments or pots and pans and bang on them. Then, of course, naps were daily for an hour, and we had gym daily for 30 minutes. That might be outside playing on the teeter-totter, the swings, playing with balls, running around, or it could have been inside doing jumping jacks and sit-ups, doing things like row, row, row your boat, where you lean forward and try to touch your toes while you sing the song, things like that. Then Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays we did art for 30 minutes. That could be scribbling, it could be drawing the picture, it could be cut and paste. We might make like rainmakers out of tubes and beans, or maracas, things like that. Something simple. Then we would have creative play or a video for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour every day. And then the rest of the day was pretty much playtime. Now, I did have specific times, but sometimes as needed we would break and just have straight out playtime and things like that. And what I would do when I was doing these is I would have one child doing blocks, one child doing chalk or water paints on an easel, another child in a doll corner, and then I'd have another child reading and things like that. Worked out really quite simply. And just to go over that a little bit further, we would start out with an hour and a half of playtime, have breakfast, story time, and discussion. And I would sometimes also read a fun story, have a morning nap time, then there would be playtime outside if the weather permitted, lunch. After lunch we would do ABCs and word cards and some writing, then possibly stretching, jumping, bending, and then like at this particular time we were working on plants and the different parts of plants and how they grew. Then we would have an afternoon nap time, and then playtime and a short video before some of the girls got picked up. So hopefully you found that part helpful. Then I have two different schedules I did on 2 different weeks during a summer school schedule for a 2nd and 3rd grader in the family that I was doing. And this one's laid out a little more simply. As you can see, I did straight out language arts across the board for 60 minutes, and that could be 30 minutes each or 60 minutes together working on word cards or phonics or something. The math was 60 minutes across the board, and I usually work with both of them at the same time and helped whoever needed the help the most. Science was 30 minutes on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then we had history on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Then we had PE or gym time for 30 minutes on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and art was Wednesdays and Fridays. Then we had Spanish Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 15 minutes, and music Tuesdays and Thursdays for 30 minutes. So that would mean that their instruction time was anywhere from 3 hours and 15 minutes to 3 hours and 30 minutes a day. And the rest of the time was playtime. And if you notice, I don't have any time frames on here because we were flexible. We would have breaks where we needed them and break down and play or watch a movie or something like that and then come back to it. I also would lay out things they like to eat and give them choices. Then I found out that didn't make a whole lot of sense, so I broke it down so that you could tell it was 30 minutes each for language arts and so forth. And we actually, doing this came out to they each had 2 hours and 45 minutes 3 days a week and 3 hours of instruction on 2 days a week. Okay, and their lesson plan might look something like this. Some days I would have more on there than others. Here it just says C Tuesday, so that meant they did not finish their Tuesday work, so we were carrying it over. And then we would do Hooked on Phonics, which is HOP, and I would put which book each one was in and which pages they were to do and the questions to be answered. And then like on Thursdays, here's Science, and one was in grade 2, book 6 of Life Pack, and it was a test. The other one was grade 3, book 6 of Life Pack, and that was a test. Then in math, one was grade 3, book 3, and they were doing an add and learn how to check the adding. And the other one was grade 3, book 6, and was working on patterns. And then the next day, they both had self-test. And here's an old 5th grade one from when my daughter was in 5th grade. This was 2006-2007. She belonged to a group at a local church that did Awana, and she would do that while I worked at a dance studio in the evening on the nights that she did not have dance. So in the mornings, we would start with daily Bible study or Awana for 30 minutes. Then every day, daily math, 40 minutes, daily spelling, 30 minutes, and Fridays would be a test. Daily language arts, 50 minutes, and there would be a break daily for 30 minutes. Now this one I scheduled because at the time my mother was alive, and I would call her and we would talk for about 30 minutes. Monday to Wednesday, history for 40 minutes. Tuesdays and Fridays, science, 40 minutes. And on Thursdays, it was a study hall for that same 40-minute block time. Then, between 11:10 and 12:10, Mondays we would do music. Tuesday would be dance or exercise. Wednesday would be computer lab. Thursday's health, and Friday's art. And that was for 1 hour. Now this dance was so that she could practice before dance class. And I also counted her dance classes as gym for most of her school time. And then I would also count that as fine arts, performing arts, when she was in high school after she completed the first year of PE credits. So we did lunch for 50 minutes every day, and daily we had reading for 30 minutes, which was usually silent reading. And then she had 30 minutes of free time to play games or whatever. And then after that, if she was finished with everything, she could just move on from there. Going from there, I did write down a little bit about the different types of books we used for that 5th grade. We used Millikan Math Workbook, Macmillan McGraw-Hill Math, the 2005 edition at that time, School Zone Multiplication and Division Workbooks, Skill Builders, Fraction, Decimal Percents, Merrill Spelling and Word Mastery, Steck-Von Decimals and Concepts, Problem Solving, Reading Bridges, Grade 5, Hands on Heritage Native American Activity Book. We did the Learn at Home Grade 5 Workbook, which those are, you can still get on eBay, but they're very expensive because they're out of print. We did Discover Decisions for Health, United States and its Neighbors, Macmillan Language Arts, American Ed, complete book of maps and geography, and several others, just to give you an idea. Plus, she wanted to set a goal of reading 24 books from July 17, 2006 to May 7th of 2007. So that gives you a little bit of idea of how to put a curriculum together without buying a full curriculum. Now the next one is for grade 6, which this I printed off from Calvert. It's a curriculum that I like a lot. Right now I just have mostly their history and math books on hand for the future. And they block out the times and how many days a week and times. Well, if you notice, I changed the times, added how much time I wanted to use in there, and I color-coded it to make it easier for me. Now I found out the 6th grader I had that particular year, which was 2016-2017, was not working. So we went with this one, where they did an hour of math, 30 minutes of grammar, 15 minutes of spelling, 30 minutes of composition and writing, and a 20-minute break. 45 minutes for history, geography, 30-minute lunch, 1 hour reading, and then 20 minutes of a break and snack, and then 45 minutes of science and health, for a total of 4 hours and 45 minutes of instruction a day, with an hour and 10 minutes lunch and 2 breaks. That worked out well. Now for high school, this is like a summer school type thing. My daughter had already completed most of her credits but didn't want to graduate because that meant dropping out of her dance company group and her youth group at church. And so she continued on just doing odd little studies, and I was homeschooling my then youngest granddaughter for her high school credits. So on Monday we did consumer math, and they both participated in it. Then there was economics for my granddaughter, and financial study for my daughter, and Spanish for my granddaughter. And Tuesdays was anything that wasn't completed on Monday or any other day. Wednesdays we had car studies because I'm a Zuma Gold instructor, and I was driving to a Y on the other side of town, and in the car they did music, which could be singing or just listening to the music, and then reading. And my granddaughter would participate in the Zumba classes for her PE credits. And my daughter, who sometimes opted out of the class, would do a career-directed elective. And then they both did consumer math. On Thursdays, there was grammar for my granddaughter, French for my daughter, and then U.S. history and earth science for my granddaughter. And then on Fridays, they both did consumer math, and they each did their foreign language. So that would be high school. Now, I've come to the end of this particular video because I'm only allowed 15 minutes, and I do apologize for that if I spoke really fast. But there are a lot of different things that you can do with your schedule. Make it work for you and what you have going on in your life. Be flexible. That was the point of my doing this video. So thank you for joining me today. And again, this is the Canon Academy, and if you found the information helpful, please like and subscribe below, and we will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye. Have a good day.